Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of Measure for Measure. My name is Sean Casey, and I'm here with Newport-based singer and songwriter Tod Pronto. Todd,
Hi.
good to see you.
Yeah, good to
All
see
right.
you too.
Yeah. Generally, the way we operate here is I like to concentrate a lot on the songwriting aspect and the what your inspirations are.
Sure.
And so we don't really get into a lot of your background and autobiography, but we do like to have people know a little bit about you. So if you want to give a little thumbnail sketch of, where you've come from musically and personally, and we can just get an idea of who we're talking to here.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was born and raised in Newport, Vermont, and it's kind of funny because a lot of musicians come from a real musical family. And I did not. I can't think of anybody in my immediate family that can play any instrument. But I was always just kind of drawn to it, and I just sat and I listened to my parents' records on the floor with headphones on over and over and again. And my parents aren't really interested in music, so I think they thought that was kind of strange, especially being both kind of from the business world, and they had this weird kid that could listen to like Michael Jackson's Thriller over and over and over. It's a great record, by the way. And so eventually,
Sold like 4 or 5 copies of it.
he sold 5 or 6. So eventually, I just kind of I always wanted to get into music, but I didn't really have a mentor. So it wasn't until high school that I started learning guitar, and I kind of taught myself. And I like to tell people that I started writing my own songs like from divine inspiration or something, but really it was because it was too hard to learn other people's songs. It was easier just to make up my own, and it's fared well for me. I was down in Nashville for a good amount of time, and I cut a record down there, and now I'm back in the Northeast Kingdom, is what we call the Newport area, but I'm performing all around. I haven't been to this area yet, though, so hopefully you'll see me here sometime. But
Yeah. Well, Franklin County has kind of a burgeoning music scene, as they say. It's really come up quite a bit, and so I'm sure we will be seeing you over here, and at some of the local venues, and
I hope
as you
so.
get more west of the mountain. You traveled back east of the mountain quite a bit because I'm lived for many years in Newport, but
I remember you when I was in high school. You had an album for sale, and I think I know I bought it. I just don't know if my dad bought it or if I bought it.
So you were him.
Maybe I stole it. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's all right. It was on cassette, which was a brilliant business decision because long after CDs are gone, they're gonna go after those cassettes down in the vault.
Analog is always, vinyl's coming back right now.
That's right.
It's only natural that cassettes are going to be next.
I don't know if 8-track ever will, just because of that click click.
Yeah, the 8-track was weird. The 8-track was not a good medium. I really like vinyl. I think it makes sense because I don't know. It's circular. Music's like circular. I guess that doesn't really make sense, but to me it does.
I think it's what it does. And now they've actually colored vinyl, so you can get different colors and records. Yeah,
it's neat. I'm glad it's coming back. I think it's neat that it's coming back because it's a tangible form of something that you can hold. Because I was the type of kid, and I still am. When I get an album, I put the album on and I take the liner notes and I read through it while I'm listening to the album. If it's got the lyrics, I want to read them. I want to know who produced it and where it was recorded. And you don't get that a lot nowadays. So it's cool that vinyl's coming back because I don't know, it's more, I guess, tangible. I've used that word twice. It's the only word I know.
Yeah, but it is a common thing that people are sort of wrestling with now is that you do need sort of product out there because you need something that is tangible, that is something that people can see and relate to and buy, because there are all these everything's digital and it's out there in a stream somewhere, and you can grab some of it onto whatever device you have and download and stuff, but really to some extent I think you lose like what you were saying about a record being that event of
Yeah.
getting the notes and having it a complete package. And some of the records that we've, are famous throughout history, were concept albums that now, can you imagine, there would be no concept album because, because all the songs are, haphazardly available in every form.
Yeah, and you get it. A lot of people buy just one track off
Yeah,
of
that's
an
right.
album. And you can't blame them because I don't think people are putting albums together like they used to either.
True, yeah.
It's very common to buy an album that has one or two good songs on it, and the rest they just threw out as filler, which is sad because I tend to gravitate towards artists that put out a whole album. Like, I don't know if you're familiar with Jason Isbell. I'm absolutely fascinated by him right now because it's a whole album that you can sit down. And I bought his last vinyl. And I waited until Sunday morning. I got it in the mail on like a Tuesday. And I waited till Sunday and I brewed a cup of coffee and I put the album on and I sat on my couch. And I don't really have much of a life, just if you were gathering this. And I listened to the whole album and read I miss doing that.
Yeah. Well, I heard in an interview Jackson Browne say that, the record, and he said, I still call them records because it's like it's a record of like a time. Sort of, and
Sure.
it's a whole package of like this artist, sort of what was going on
That
in your
period
head,
of
and that type of thing.
Yeah.
And,
I like that.
and I think that actually we'll talk about your most recent release, and I think you had mentioned something about that in your liner notes about it. That that
I did,
it is about the about having that complete package and giving a little bit of history as to where the inspiration came from, where the songs came from, and
Right.
what parts of my life did these songs grow out of. Now, actually, when we start by listening to a song,
Okay.
and now the first song that we're going to hear you do is
The Devil Will Never Win.
"The Devil Will Never Win,"
Yeah.
because I spaced as to which one we'd decided on to lead with.
Yep.
But can you tell me a little bit about first when it was written and sort of what, you don't have need to go into great detail, but what was generally the inspiration for it?
The inspiration. It was written in about 2010, 2011. I think I wrote it in 2010, and I never laid it down until about 2011. The thing about this release, or I tend to call them albums, probably for the same reason that Jackson Browne does, but it encompasses almost a 6-year period of time. So it's a very definitive point in my life, and the album kind of, and we'll talk more about that. But this is actually the last song on the album, and it's about it's about a personal struggle. So in the song, you'll hear me say the devil will never win, and I believe we all have personal demons that we struggle with, and it's kind of an empowering song saying it's not going to get me down. I'm going to power through it, and so it's an upbeat song. It was written to. It's kind of a funny story because when you hear me sing it today, it's got a little bit more of a gospel feel, and it's very acoustic. And I love gospel music, even though I don't really listen to it. I just like the feel of it. So I wrote this to be a gospel song, and then I recorded it almost with an electronic techno feel. So if you hear it on the album, it's got a little bit of a different flavor.
It's interesting to see different the different ways that a song can be approached.
Yeah.
But so let's hear Tod Pronto doing "The Devil Will Never Win."
When times get hard, I don't get down. It's easier to walk when you stand. I may not have a whole lot of money, but I'm just fine with who I am. Now I've had ups and I've had downs. I do it all over again. As long as I have you here, the devil will never win. The devil will never win. The devil here on land. So I keep moving along every chance I can, 'cause the devil will never win. The devil will never win. As long as I keep on keeping the faith, the devil will never win. So holly, holly, hallelujah. Holly, holly, hallelujah. Lonely times, I remind myself no one's here alone. As long as you can see it too, brother, you're already home. Because the devil will never win. The devil will never win. As long as I keep on keeping the faith, the devil will never win. The devil will never win. The devil will never win. As long as I keep on keeping the faith, the devil will never win. The devil will never win. The devil will never win.
All right, well, that was neat. Now, thank you very much for doing that song. You had mentioned that it is sort of defiant in some ways, about, that this is my Declaration of Independence, sort of, that
Yeah.
I'm going to go toe-to-toe with you, and I'm going to win.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny because the particular struggle that it's about was something that I hadn't overcome yet. It was kind of like something that I wrote in the place of, eventually I'm gonna get this out. And I think it's something that everybody struggles with something. Mm-hmm. And when you finally do beat it, it's neat. And so it's much more fun for me to sing now because I've come a long way since I wrote the song. And I think I think the song kind of came out I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. Not by accident, but it came out for a reason. Mm-hmm. I think I needed to write that song to give yourself. One of the big things that we all need is some sort of self-empowerment to get over struggles, and that's how I did it. I wrote it about the particular subject it's about. I wrote about 3 years before I actually tackled that devil, but we kicked its butt, so we're doing good.
Yeah.
The neat thing about that song, a lot of people can kind of take it in their own way, and I've had a lot of people that are church-going folks that take it for the literal sense that it's a religious song. It's really not a religious song. When I sing the word hallelujah, it's actually a nod to Leonard Cohen. But that's the great thing about music. Anybody can kind of get their own idea out of it, and hopefully it helps somebody else be self-empowered. Because all my other songs are pretty devastating, but this one, it's an empowering song.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting about songwriting is that and putting it out there. I mean, there are probably many people who write songs, and sing them in the shower, and they never bring them out.
Yeah.
Once you bring them out, they basically, you can't lay down, specific rules for how they're going to be interpreted. It's you're putting it out there. It's art, and it's going to be people are going to come at it from their own angle.
Yeah.
And get out of it what they, what they're going to, and maybe what they need too.
I hear people a lot of times say like, oh, that song right now, it's the perfect thing for what I'm going through in my life right now. It's like they wrote that song for me. And the truth is you're going to hear something and you're going to relate it to yourself, no matter what the song's about. So that's kind of the beauty of being a songwriter, because like for me, I'm not a particularly confrontational person. So I'm not going to confront somebody and say, oh, you're making me mad, or you're making me upset, or blah, blah, blah. But I can write about it in a song, and I can perform that song, and it's kind of, it's my, I guess, passive-aggressive way of dealing with things.
Yeah.
But it's an artful way of doing it as well, too, so I think it's healthy.
Catharsis is catharsis.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But I know sometimes I am on the fence about whether, I love to hear songwriters tell about, what they've, what a song sort of was about and how they came to write it, like a song that I've always liked. But sometimes I'm almost hesitant to, because, it's like if I've known it for a long time, I have a very different relationship with that song, and it's like I don't want to hear that it was about somebody's fear of water or something like that, when I thought it was about relationships. 'Cause
Right.
it was about relationships for me.
Or like Barry Manilow's song "Mandy." It's about his dog, but most people think, that's a good love song.
Yeah. Will you kiss me and stop me from shaking?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
And yes, I know the words to Barry Manilow songs.
I do too. I love that song.
Hey,
It's a guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
I like Copacabana too, but not as much.
I remember Copacabana being acted out during one of my 7th grade end of year concerts by people. And one guy was an absolute Barry Manilow fanatic, so he would sing exactly. He was a mimic, basically. He would sing exactly like him. And and he became an actor. I don't know if he. So I guess mimicry was his forte.
Guess so.
He's down in New York still acting. I don't think he's had any huge breaks yet, but I think he has had some, walk-on roles and some things.
Hey, it's a tough business.
I hope he makes it big, because in 1st grade, we were both up for the role of Charlie Brown, and they gave the role to me because even though he was a better singer, I was a better actor. So I hope he eventually gets like a Tony or an Oscar or something, so that I can
You say
I'll have that. Well, I'm better than this guy.
I won that audition.
Yeah, it's sort of like Pacino was lost out to you, and
Yeah.
well, see,
You never know.
yeah, I know. Scent of a woman. But now but you said you were down in Nashville. Now, how many years were you down there?
Just under 2. I did a lot of back and forth traveling for a while, and then I just kind of stayed down there for probably 6 months one time. Just never came back, and eventually came back. But it's a great town, and I kind of miss it. The heat I don't miss so much. I'm definitely a Vermont. I have Vermont blood, because they say you acclimate, but I don't think you really do. It's very humid down there, but it's a great town, and yeah. So I guess about 2 years off and on. And
Now, were you chasing the musical dream, or did you go down there and work and say, well, I'll feel this out? Or?
Yeah, no, I was chasing I was signed to an independent record label. It was named Be Venturous Records, which there's another Vermont singer who's on that label is Wayne Warner. I don't know if you know that name.
The name sounds familiar.
And he had a couple hits at the time, and so I was kind of piggybacking off of that. It never really worked out. It's kind of the classic story of getting the record deal and the record never comes out. But I did write an album, and I did work with a song plugger for about 3 years. I even after I came back, I was still pitching music down there, and never got anything cut. I had some stuff. The process is the plugger or the publisher will go to the artist's manager or the artist and play a bunch of songs, and they'll say, put that one on hold, put that one on hold. And then after it goes on hold, I might be getting this wrong because it's been a long time. No, they express interest in it. So you can have 3 or 4 artists express interest in one song, and then the first one to say, okay, put it on hold, means they want to record it for their record. So I had a few put on hold, and kind of the last straw for me was I have a song called Broken Hearts on my last record, which is recorded in Nashville. And Alan Jackson had put it on hold, and then he dropped it for a song called I Still Like Baloney. And that was kind of the last straw. I said, I don't even know what I'm doing here, you know. And but that happens more often than not. And you'd always get your sheet back with all the people that were interested in your song, and it was really exciting, and then it was frustrating because it just never happened. Mm-hmm. But what I tell people, the thing about, you just need to get one. You need to break it through, because if you're a country music fan and you like country music, there's only about 5 people that write every song that you hear on the radio. And you've got to kind of break in there. And then it's kind of like being, I guess, a hairdresser, where you get referrals. You know, who does your hair? Well, such and such. Well, I'm going to go to them. That's kind of what it is. You know, somebody's going to do a new album. Well, let's see what such and such, does. And, you know, Chris Stapleton, who kind of like blew up this year at the AMA Awards for his own album, they're calling him this overnight success. And he's been writing in Nashville for years, and he's one of the guys that has written a lot of the hits that are on the radio. But one thing I always found really interesting, I did a lot of writers' nights down there. They have a lot of in the rounds, and you meet a lot of these writers that have written all these songs. And I don't know what your view of country music is. I love country music. I don't love what's come out of Nashville in probably the last 15 years at all. But these guys are writing songs for the paycheck. And they'll get together in a hotel room or an office on Music Row or a bar, and they say, okay, we're going to write this song. What do you got? They churn it out. Boom. The songs that they write for themselves, the albums that they release for themselves, is some of the best songwriting you'd ever. It's the most humbling thing, because you hear, like, oh, I'm the guy that wrote She Thinks My Tractor's Sexy, and you're like, ugh. And then he'll just sing a knockout song that's his own, but it wouldn't make money, so they don't pitch it. It's amazing. It's really a different world down there. A lot of talent, and yeah, I don't know how many people go in and out of that city a day, but it's a lot.
Yes, yeah. I know that on one of his, John Prine's a great storyteller. When his before his songs, and one of them he says that a song that he was going to get together and write with a friend of his, he says, we decided we'd do it like the professionals in Nashville do, and like write it at 10 o'clock on a Monday morning. It's just sort of almost poking fun at that, and also just acknowledging that, there are people who are like, really machines and churn out the
crazy
productivity.
I mean, and every once in a while something breaks through the cracks. But the guy that played piano for me on, I have a song called Money in a Suitcase on my Nashville album, and he co-wrote It's 5 O'Clock Somewhere, which was a huge hit. He never co-wrote before in his life. The guy that he co-wrote with it had the idea for It's 5 O'Clock Somewhere, and they were waiting for somebody else to show up to a session, and this guy was hired just to play the piano. Like, give me a G chord, because these guys are such good writers. They don't need their own instruments, apparently. So they hire a guy. The guy never showed up, so he wrote the song with this guy, and it ended up being It's 5 O'Clock Somewhere. Wow. Only song he's ever written, and he put his kid through college, put his kid's kid through college, probably their kids through college. It can be complete dumb luck, or it can be really orchestrated, and I never was able to figure the answer out, but I think it's because I don't tend to write that formulated style, verse chorus,
Yeah. What tends to be your writing process? Is it kind of all over the place, or do you get kind of a melody in your head, and is it sort of paired with a concept, and then you flesh it out a little?
Yeah, they're all different. Lately, I've been like, my next album's going to be much different than this one, and I'm writing a lot more of the lyrics first, and with the melody kind of in my head, and then going around and putting the chords to it. But I've been studying a lot more about guitar, so I'm starting to learn more about keys. But my general process is, and it always tends to be the better songs, is I just sit there with the guitar and I just start playing chords, and I just start saying whatever comes off the top of my head. And years ago I had a little tape recorder with the little tiny cassette tapes. Now I do it with my iPhone on the voice memo thing, and I just sing. And eventually something will put, like The Devil Will Never Win. I don't remember writing that song, but I'm pretty sure that came out, The Devil Will Never Win. And I was like, okay, and then I'll base a song. But I very rarely sit down with the idea that I'm going to write a song about such and such. It always ends up being about something that's going on in my life. But I literally, I hope, like Kurt Cobain had a bunch of his tapes that are being released, I think sometime this year. And it's all unfinished work tapes where he was just mumbling into the thing. And I would be mortified after I pass away if one of my friends takes all these digital files, because it's me just sprouting out nonsense about nothing. Mm-hmm. But every once in a while there's a line there, and then I kind of build the song around that. But I guess that was the really long way of saying that I usually write the melody first.
But it's funny the way the organic way that words come out, and the concept is. I think it's your it's almost you're playing to your subconscious. You know that
Yeah.
that you're working out on something you weren't quite aware that it was, that you were wrestling with this maybe,
Yeah.
or that there was that close to the surface. But then all of a sudden, wow, where'd that come from? And yeah, I guess I was. That it really needed to come out, and sometimes very emotionally. And he's like,
Yeah.
I didn't even suspect this was going on.
The best ones usually come out like that too. That's the crazy thing. I mean, I would probably say I spend maybe 10 minutes writing a song. Mm-hmm. I spend a couple weeks refining it after that, and maybe changing some chord progressions. But every once in a while, like what you said, my mother passed away in June. And a couple weeks after that, this song absolutely fell out of me. And I do not remember writing it. I know I did, because it's my handwriting. I couldn't even tell you how I wrote that song, except for I tuned my guitar to drop D, and I put a capo on the 3rd fret, and I strummed a chord, and like 15 minutes later, one of the best songs I've ever written came out. And I'm convinced that it was given. I think it was Bob Dylan said, like, you don't write songs; they're given to you, and you just kind of pick them out of the air. And I believe that. But this one, I don't think I had anything to do with. I'm pretty sure it was just channeled through me, and I like that when that happens.
Oh, it's great, yeah.
Yeah, it's much better than the forced ones, and I think that's what happens in Nashville a lot is. They're forced, or for anybody writing songs for pop radio, it's, I mean, if you look at some of the lyrics that are popular right now, that can't be something that, maybe it's something that was just drawn out of the sky, but I don't know. There was a lot of interference in the sky that day, because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But it's what you had said, like about those, random, talking things. I think in a way you're letting your subconscious speak out to you. But sometimes those will have amazing lyrical, overtones, and even even melodically, because the song Under Pressure, Queen and David Bowie.
Yeah.
The part that Freddie Mercury is singing there, he's doing basically almost scatting in a way. That was completely. They were just basically place savers. It was like, just do something here, and we'll figure out later. But you know what? Like, he had a rough form of a melody that he wanted to reinforce, and he just set it to basically nonsense words so that it would be a place keeper. And they ended up being the words. All that dip, 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 dip. It's almost like scatting. It's not, they weren't words per se.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that, but yeah, that I can see that. I think a lot of truth comes out of that. Like, I think it's similar to, when somebody's drunk, they'll just say anything, but a lot of times it's the most truthful thing that they'll ever say because there's no inhibitions. I think sometimes when your subconscious will write something like that, it's speaking the truth and it's coming. I think the big thing that a lot of people struggle with is trying to put too much truth into their work because they don't want to expose themselves. And I think if you can let that go, then you're probably going to write some really good stuff.
Yeah.
Or not. It might be really bad. I don't know.
Yeah, it depends,
I'm not saying get drunk and write music, but I've done it. I've done it.
Yeah. Well, I say, I was just reading what not to do,
Right.
one of these blog things, and it was don't write for an audience of one. They said, if it's too much all in your head, and some songwriters think they need to bleed onto paper, and that was always like my image of what songwriting was. So I felt, well, I'm really a moron then. You're not supposed to do that. I always thought that was kind of the idea.
I think I read this article too. Is it something recently? Like
5 things not to do. And,
I read that same thing, and
that's
I don't know if I necessarily agree with that but I think it's all in what kind of music you like. Like if you're the type of person that's looking for a good beat to dance to and to have fun, that's more. But I'm the type of person, like, if I hear a song that absolutely knocks me out, then I'm gonna see what else that writer has written, and I think that's why I tend to like songs that. I like singer-songwriters a lot more than just singers because I feel like I like that truth, and I think it's great that they write for an audience of one. Mm-hmm. But you do have to have some songs that are for the general.
Yeah, well, they can be too, in your head, I suppose, too, about your own neuroses, but but as long as they're neurotic things that other people can enjoy too. Then,
somebody will relate to it.
And I said neurotic, not erotic, just for clarification. Don't want to get us in trouble with the FCC or anything else. But
that's a restaurant, right?
Yeah, I think it's a company that Howard Stern started, I think.
Yeah, he's a big fan of them.
So anyway, let's hear another tune from you.
Okay.
Now this is going to be more of a ballad.
Yes.
And
this is more actually in the direction that I'm going, where I mentioned my next collection of work is going to be a little more. I don't really know how to explain it. There's a little bit more of a jazz feel to this song. The chord structures, it's in the key of C sharp. Not that really matters, but it's in the key of C sharp and it's got a lot of 7th chords, so it creates a lot of tension. And this is one of those songs actually where we were talking and I said I tend to write the melody first. I wrote the chord progression and the melody to this song probably 3 months before the lyrics came out. And in this case, it's because I knew it was good, but I didn't know what I wanted to write it about. And I tried my little tape recorder trick, and in this case, nothing was coming. I was just sending down the nonsense words, and it was all rubbish. And so I just table it. And what this song is about, there's not I come from very northern Vermont. For those of you that don't know where Newport is, it's right on the Canadian border. It's a pretty isolated place. There's not a whole lot going on. Pretty much the only thing to do there is hunt deer, go grocery shopping, maybe go out to the bar and get your heart broken. And so this song is a classic song about getting your heart broken, but not in the traditional sense. I have this uncanny ability for people to just tell me all their problems. I've thought about becoming a licensed counselor, but I don't know if I'd lead people in the right way. So in this particular song, what it's about is about somebody that I started talking with a lot, and she confided in me all of her, relationship problems, and then something must have gone great because she'd disappear for 3-4 months, and then all of a sudden something would happen again, and let's, because like apparently, like I'm saying, I must be a really good counselor. I need to start charging for this. So about the third or fourth time that happened, I was sitting there, I had the guitar, I was going over that chord structure, and this little thing popped up on the Facebook. I don't know if you use Facebook or not, but they have these little messengers. And it went bloop, and it was her name, and automatically in my head I said, oh, it's my heartbreak friend. I wonder what happened now. And then the song came.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing the way it works. So let's listen to Tod Pronto doing Heartbreak Friend.
Heartbreak friend, here you are again. Welcome back to my life. So emotional, girl, like you just need the world to say everything's gonna be alright. What should I say this time around that I haven't said before? If I comfort you, who's gonna be there for me the next time you walk out that door? Heartbreak friend, here you are again, and still I want more. Well, it's just like poison in your mouth when he touches your arm. Let hope ease pain, let love course your veins, from your head to your heart now. Heartbreak friend, over and over again. Am I just part of your plan? It's only a dream, a familiar theme. Am I dreaming yet? It's only a dream, it's only a dream. Only dreams forget. Slow down your mind. If you ask too much, you'll find sometimes we seek what we regret. So just give it time, and soon you will find sometimes it's better to stay away now. Heartbreak friend, here you are again. How can I help you today?
And so thank you, Todd, for singing Heartbreak Friend for us. And you mentioned how it's sort of funny how that sort of was I consider that type of thing to be sort of a glass slipper thing, like you have this shoe, that you're trying to fit, sometimes a melody can sort of be like that, it's like you're trying to find who's going to wear this shoe, what words are going to do it justice.
It took a while. I'm really proud of that melody. I'm really proud of the chord progression, and I'm thankfully really proud of the lyrics. I mean, I tried jotting some stuff down, but it was the wrong foot. So I finally found the right foot.
Mm-hmm. Good. Yeah. Now where have you been? Where do you like to play? What types of venues and do you like to seek out like more folk clubs or more like rock bars or?
I like the folk thing. I really like coffee shops, and the reason I like coffee shops, and I'll play anywhere. I'm not picky, but I like coffee shops because or natural food stores, because people tend to go to hear the music. Whereas when you play in a bar, you're really background noise, and it's hard. I'm the type of performer that will really connect with the audience, and that's I would say 40% of my show is bouncing off the audience and getting that repertoire with them. And if I can't get that, it makes it really hard. Plus, I know you're a performer as well. If you can't hear yourself, you're going to play a little bit louder so you can hear yourself, and they're just going to talk louder. But I still do that. But I really like coffee shops, folk clubs, and anytime there's a chance to do a show in a theater, if it's a benefit concert or an opening act slot or something, I really enjoy that, because I feel like the whole reason I do what I do is to share it with people, and when people aren't receptive to your sharing, it's not as much fun. But I'll play anywhere, well, within reason.
Yes.
I won't play like a biker bar because I'm not really good at fighting or anything. But I've been playing a lot in Burlington and Montpelier. There's not a lot of places in Newport, but we're trying an experiment in 2016. I'm going to be playing out of the state of Vermont for a good chunk of my shows, especially throughout January. And I'm a little nervous to see how it's going to go, but I'm actually really excited about it too, because I feel like these are the type of places that are welcoming of singer-songwriters.
You like mostly in New England or kind of further afield?
I'm doing. I give you a rough draft of my beginning of the year. Right after the New Year, we're going to be in Rockville, Maine, which is north of Portland, and then coming back and going down to Boston, Massachusetts, like a few days later, and then going back to Portland, Maine, and then going to New York City. And I just barely booked today. I'm going to do a show in New York City on a Friday night, and I'm going to be playing in Brooklyn on a Saturday. So, and then back up through some stuff in Newport, hopefully in this area. I know you've given me some ideas of some good venues for our stuff, and so it's an experiment to see to find the right venues. I guess there's a lot of wrong venues, but when you find the right venue, a really cool venue, it's totally worth hanging on to. So,
you said how important that that kind of relationship is with the audience, and this last song we're going to hear you do is actually kind of a neat one that has some audience participation usually in it.
Absolutely,
it's car songs are some of the most amazing songs. That all throughout rock and roll and everything. How many car songs there are? Millions. Because it's like they really, they represent so much to us, our freedom and this song is written about your first car. Yeah,
my first car was a hunk of junk, but I'm so glad that I bought it. It was $200. It was a 1974 Dodge Dart. It was falling apart. I glorify it a lot in this song, but in all actuality, I only had the car for 2 months. It had a leak in the seam of the gas tank, so I couldn't put any more than a quarter tank of gas in it or just spill out. And the struts went through the trunk. It was a hunk of junk, but it was my first car, and it technically was a classic. And kind of getting back to what you said, you've got to write songs for outside of an audience of one, and this song has really done it because everybody remembers their first car, no matter what it was. But a lot of people had a Dodge Dart in the 70s.
Yep.
And I've sang this at car shows, and I've had my picture taken in front of really nice looking Dodge Darts. I don't know anything about those.
I get a kick out of how it handles like a shopping cart.
Yeah.
And my sister has a Mini, and their big thing when they came out was it has go-kart handling. And I thought, is it really? Does a car want to say that it handles like a go-kart? Is that a good thing?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Well, they do those really sharp turns.
Yeah, I guess so. But this one handles like a shopping cart. So let's.
It did.
Yeah. Let's listen to Tod Pronto doing 74 Dodge Dart.
Well, $200 was all I paid. It was avocado and Bondo gray. But she was a pistol when you put it in gear. Built like a tank with power steering. High 91, the southbound lane, hit 120 and she started to shake. Such a rush, left a black Mercedes eating dust. She was a 74 Dodge Dart, and she handled like a shopping cart. 8-track player and a used parts. 74 Dodge Dart, slant 6 engine, man, she really tore. Had a big old hole on the passenger floor. Sit and watch the asphalt fly. Pedal to the metal, baby, hold on tight. She was a 74 Dodge Dart, and she handled like a shopping cart. 8-track player and a used parts. 74 Dodge Dart. Open road and the radio. Oh, a rubber and tire can't beat the freedom of your first car. She was a 74 Dodge Dart, and she handled like a shopping cart. 8-track player and a used parts. 74 Dodge Dart, first taste of freedom, a work of art. 74 Dodge Dart.
Welcome back, and thanks for listening to that. It's a fun song, and you can hear that a crowd would enjoy that.
It's great. I kind of instruct them, and their words are Dodge Dart. So I say it's a 74, and they yell Dodge Dart, and there's always one person that's way off time.
No, that's all right.
Not
music major. Yeah,
They're jazz musicians.
yeah, that's right.
They're never on
They're
time.
in a different time signature. That's all. Yeah, but Dodge Darts are amazing, and slant 6, you could never kill those.
No, the engine's still fine. The struts might have gone through the trunk. Engine was still running great.
That's right. Now this is your most recent offering.
Absolutely.
It can't all be wrong. Now this is basically coming out now. It's 2015 release.
Yep.
Now you have a website. Your website is todpronto.com, right?
Yep. 1D. That's the confusing part.
todpronto.com.
Yep. Absolutely.
And they can people can track, shows coming up and
Yep.
other albums.
There's
Now-
videos on there too.
Oh, yeah, nice.
You can see me all done up and looking a little better than I do here. Yeah.
Well, yeah, we don't do makeup here because we kind of eschew that type of thing.
I did my own.
Natural.
I think it's all right.
Oh, there you go.
I'm missing a spot like right here.
Now can they get hold of your other album through your website?
Yes.
All right.
Yep.
Okay, so you have the 2, and then you have a third one in the works.
Yeah, I'm shooting for fall. I think we're going to be recording it this winter, like February, March.
Nice.
and I'm going to shoot for a fall release. And I'm really proud of this album because this album is exactly what I wanted it to be. It spans from really stripped down folk music to more upbeat rock to some straight out rock and some really nice ballads. I got a string section on one song. So it's a very produced album. The next album is going to be a little more stripped down, not quite as glitzy as this one.
Yeah.
But
Very
I'm
nice.
really proud of it. It took like 5, almost 6 years to make this album.
Nice.
So check it out.
Yep. And all right, so yeah, look you up on the website, and of course you're out there in cyberspace for the people who want to download things,
Yep.
electronically. But there's
Absolutely.
something important about having the tangible product too, as we were talking about.
Yeah, you got to have something so people can not buy that at shows.
Yeah, that's right.
I always make that joke now because it's not like it used to be. Like we were saying, you like to buy the vinyl and you like to look at it. Not everybody likes to do that anymore. You can have it on your phone and just do your thing and however you like it. But you got to have something to show off.
Yep.
And I'm on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and all that jazz as well too. So
All right.
you can follow me and I'll keep you annoyed as
All
much
right.
as I can.
Well, Tod Pronto, thanks very much
Awesome. Thank
for
you, Sean.
coming over to Franklin County and
Yeah, I hope to
all
come
the way
back.
from Newport. And yeah, we hope to see you over here more. Giving us playing out in the places around here and down in Burlington, and hear more from you.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right.
Thanks
you very
everyone
much.
for watching, and we'll see you again soon on Measure for Measure.